the royal
We do nothing
public.
wrong. I mean, we're just perfectly reacting to it. Everyone else is
Obviously,
wrong.
obviously. That's the point of this podcast, is that we are right and people should listen to us. There's your clip, business boys. There's your show promo clip.
Hello and welcome to HR Confessions. I'm Rebecca Taylor.
And I'm Kim Rower. We're bringing you unfiltered perspectives from the world of HR with terrible stories and good advice.
I don't know about you, but some of my wildest HR stories come from when I was in retail. It's like dealing with the general public every day because it really adds a whole other element to workplace challenges.
Yep.
What about you? Did you work in a retail or public-facing type of HR role at any point?
Well, not in an HR role specifically, but in HR adjacent roles. When I was working in theater and working in a recording studio, especially in the recording studio environment, I was the assistant studio manager, which means that I did everything that my boss didn't do because there were only two of us on staff who weren't sound engineers. So I was doing the back end HR stuff, but I was also doing customer support and sitting at the front desk and organizing equipment orders and dealing with a variety of personalities, from actual famous rock stars to people who had a lot of money and wanted to record an album for themselves for fun. Yeah,
It's interesting that you mention actual famous rock stars because you know nothing about this story, but
True.
That is a relevant comment.
Oh, I love it. Well, I always say one of my early career jobs was sourcing candy for a particular member of Journey who needed certain candy so that he wouldn't do hard drugs. That was his way of weaning off drugs, was candy. And that was one of my many jobs. Yeah. Making sure everyone had the right microphone for the right settings for their studio, emptying dishwashers, buying candy, making marketing flyers,
A true Jill of all trades.
That's right. That's right. Contacting payroll, making an employee handbook for our interns.
Was this your segue into HR?
This was the job that made me interested in HR, because I really wanted interns to help us with some of the more entry-level tasks that I was doing. But we didn't have a budget for interns. And also it's illegal to have unpaid interns in California. So I had to get clever, and I created an educational internship program with a local university. And then we had these interns coming in every couple of months. And I was like, I should probably make a handbook for you or something. You're not going to get the boring legal employee handbook that we all get, but you should have something. And so I was like, documentation, what is that?
What's a sick day for an intern?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this is actually really fun. I really like this. What are the rules and how do I make them apply to the situation? And yeah, that was what got me interested in HR in the first place. Yeah.
I love that. And in this role, since it's ironically more relevant than I would have expected to this story.
Yes.
Did you ever have situations where did you have issues in the workplace with non-employees causing an issue in the workplace? Since you were dealing with some people who didn't work there.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was harassed by so many clients, and I had no one to report it to because it was me. And I would tell my boss, and he was, a sweet guy, but an old white dude who had been in the industry for a billion years. And he'd be like, oh, that's just the way they are, just, we need to keep them happy. So they'll keep booking sessions with us. But that's just the way they are. And I'm like, but he's leaning over my desk and harassing me this. I know this is not right. And he's like, well, they want to, God, I just remembered the exact line. He said, they want to see a happy, pretty, smiling face when they come in the door.
Love that.
Love that for me and my career development. Great. Yeah. Awesome. So my complaints will be taken seriously. Yeah. And then he would go into his office and clip his toenails. And
ew. Ugh.
Ew.
That is the instant ugh for me.
I know. So gross. So gross to do at work. But yes, to answer your question, we had many, many wonderful, wonderful clients who came in and recorded with us. Journey was among them. They were absolute fucking saints. and they were with us for a month. I got to be there for the recording of Captain Sully's audiobook for his biography, autobiography.
Cool.
He was like the nicest grandpa you've ever met. And then there
He's
were
a hero.
like he is a literal hero, and he was so kind. And then there were people who will remain nameless who like caused all kinds of problems, made my life miserable.
Yeah.
The
It's
harassment
like
was the worst,
it really
though.
is like a roll of the dice. You don't know what you're going to
Yeah, like you love someone leaning over your desk and asking you like if you ever go out to party. You're just like, what?
get. We like
Just-
to party.
Which microphone do you need, sir?
Yeah. I'm just trying to do my job here. Well, are you ready to get into the story today?
I hope so. I think so.
I think
Emotionally
you are.
ready. I'm ready.
I think you're ready.
Okay.
So today's story takes place in the busiest area of a major East Coast city. It's going to take
Okay.
a lot of connecting the dots to figure out where I'm talking about. Think lots
Okay.
of lights, traffic, crowds, 24/7 action. Locals never go there unless they absolutely have to. Kind of one of those.
Kind of like a Times Square-ish environment.
Perhaps.
Maybe. Okay. Okay.
Um,
Bright lights. Wide
Yeah, bright
lanes.
lights, big city. City's known for its assertive natives. People are used to the hustle and bustle and really aren't fazed by it. They're constantly complaining about tourists, and celebrity sightings happen all the time. And
Yep.
these sightings typically have little to no effect on them. And if anything, they find them annoying.
Understandable. I grew up in LA. I totally get that.
Yeah. So this particular location in the city is famous for a few things, but today's story is about what's probably the most mundane one, actually.
Okay.
Fast food restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Like nothing but fast food restaurants and lights and 24/7 sound and cities and all that.
Yep.
So
Cool.
our
I'm there.
HR hero today, her name is Maria. She works as an HR manager at a fast food burger chain that we're calling Delicious Burger and Fries, or just
right.
Delicious for short.
Delicious. Love it.
She's responsible for several stores in the region, and she spends most of her time traveling within the city to the different delicious locations that fall under her area of responsibility.
Yeah.
Each location, this is kind of relevant enough, each location has a general manager and a few shift leads who run the day-to-day with maybe a total of like 15 to 20 hourly employees rounding out the rest of each location's team. So she's like jumping around, responsible for all these people, so these GMs are like the people who she really relies a lot on. The GMs do, because she's usually bouncing around, the GMs are the ones that do a lot of the like day-to-day of the locations. They run most of the hiring, the onboarding, and the training. They use materials provided by headquarters because it is a franchise, so like everyone kind of has the same thing. So they use materials provided by headquarters and by extension HR. So like everything's above board and normal. And while the GM owns most of the hourly employee life cycle, they do bring in HR when someone needs to be let go. So like, no surprise there. They can promote people without us, but when they're terming them, they need us.
That's right. That's right.
So
I'm not
There's
at all
not
surprised
really-
by this.
yeah. I'm like, she's telling me the story, and I'm just like, yeah, that checks out. That sounds right.
Yeah.
And so there has to be a lot of trust in this relationship, right? Because like, since HR doesn't see everything, there has to be a lot of trust that the GM is like keeping a good eye on workplace etiquette and all the policies and everything. And, you know, in my experience in places like this, there's also kind of a balance. Like there are things that the GM or that like the manager is going to turn a blind eye to. Hopefully it's things that are more, relatively harmless, but technically not policy. So there just have to be sort of a lot of trust between the GM and HR and the GM and their team.
Okay.
So there's not really a performance goal for each person. So the reasons people would normally get fired are things like chronic absenteeism or lateness, insubordination, repeated food safety violations, repeatedly poor customer service, and unfortunately sometimes theft. So like very
Standard.
obvious things to get fired for.
Yes.
This particular location where our story takes place in the land of lights and sound is open 24/7.
Lovely.
So it's right next to a concert venue. So it's not unusual for people to come spilling out of the venue when a show's over and line up
Sure.
for burgers and fries.
Sounds right.
So the crew who works at this location is used to chaos at all hours and are very good at handling an influx of orders at 2 a.m. Like if there's any location that's just the most got their stuff together, it's this one. basically every minute is a lunch rush.
Jeez. Love a 3 a.m. lunch rush.
Yeah, exactly. And usually after a concert too, when you're definitely sober.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. I'm ready.
Yeah.
What happened?
So,
what happened, Rebecca?
Oh man. So since Maria can't be on site at every location all the time, she has a limited perspective on things like customer service skills. So the GM tends to work the day shift. So the evening shift usually has the shift lead in charge. And this is usually someone who got promoted from the register or the grill because they took the job seriously enough to show up on time and showed quote unquote leadership qualities.
Yes.
So all that to say, the shift lead was usually pretty buddy-buddy with the rest of the crew since they were management but not management, and they've basically all been there around roughly the same time. So that's who in charge.
And they're like
at
only
2 a.m.
working overnights, right? Like,
Well, there's a shift lead for every shift, but
okay.
during the overnight, there's no manager. It's just the shift lead.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they're in charge. This is
Cool.
basically the person who's like the same age and level as everybody else who's just
Right.
arbitrarily in charge for maybe another 25 cents an hour. A real career move.
Cool. Yep.
So one day, Maria walks into one of the other locations and settles into the little back office area. She has alerts set up for the various review sites where customers can rate their experiences because she can't witness customer service all the time, but
Oh, boy.
she needs to see, like, just, if things come up, she needs to see. So, Kim, are you familiar with these sites? What kinds of
Yes.
things do you normally see on these types
Oh,
of
it's
review sites?
awful. I was going to say, like, this is not an efficient way for her to be gathering feedback on her employees' performance this the only people that tend to write things on those review sites are people who are very, very angry. Occasionally you get some good reviews, but this is not an unbiased and like efficient and accurate way to get perspective on how employees are performing in their customer service roles. It might alert you to like some real danger zone situations. But
That's more what she uses
as a
it for.
manager, as a management tactic, I don't love this.
No, she uses it more for the danger zone things, kind of like,
oh my God, something horrible has
Yeah.
happened at one of my stores and no one told me except this
Yeah.
anonymous reviewer on Kelp.
yeah. It's like you're foreshadowing what we're going to say.
Oh no. Why is HR so predictable, Rebecca?
It's, you know what, the way that she was kind of describing this is it almost sounds like she used these sites the same way HR might use Glassdoor, as in like, it's there, it's a data point, take it with a grain of
Yeah.
salt, but like if there's smoke, there's
Might
fire.
tell me what I need to look into more. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So Maria sees an alert from Yelp that was dated the day before. So I'm now going to paraphrase that review.
Okay.
This place is so disorganized and unsanitary. They let anyone behind the counter, even if they don't work there. People were smoking and drinking and cooking burgers, and everyone was standing on top of each other because they wouldn't get online. When I got closer to the counter, I swear I saw the name of a famous rapper who we'll call Raymond at the register taking orders. I left without getting anything and won't be back. 1 star.
What?
And now, a quick word from our sponsor, SkillCycle. SkillCycle is a talent development system that connects performance management to one-to-one coaching and development. The SkillCycle platform aligns individual growth with business objectives through continuous feedback, AI-powered development paths, and leadership training. As a SkillCycle co-founder, I'd love to talk to you out there in our audience, progressive people leaders who really get it. Let's chat over coffee on us to give us some feedback on the episode and about the challenges you're facing today. You might just contribute to a topic on our next episode. Email us today at hrconfessions@skillcycle.com. That's hrconfessions@skillcycle.com.
The only literal quote from that is the 1 star, and that's how I picture they said it.
Oh my God. I mean, it takes a lot to surprise me when it comes to HR things.
Did I shock you, or did I surprise you, if not shock?
I am a little bit shocked by the behavior. But again, it's like, employee behavior and is one thing, but like random customer behavior is another. I'm just picturing this scene. Like this is like worst nightmare scenario. It sounds awful.
You talked about people coming behind your desk and infiltrating your personal space. Like, what about coming behind your counter?
No, this is my safety bubble. I do not wish it to be breached.
Yeah.
This smells to me like famous rapper, famous celebrity or whatever who thinks they're above the law is done with their concert, is not sober, goes to the local burger joint and is like, I'm famous. This is my burger place now. Everybody gets what they want. Party. Like, I've heard of these things happening places. Um, I've seen things like this happen at like after parties for shows and things. I've never seen it happen in a public restaurant.
Yep.
This
Well,
is
it did.
a unique story.
Yep. And like, there's a lot to unpack here because it's a short,
Right.
it's like a short review that says so much. That's like,
Right.
wait, it sounds like a
And
fever
like,
dream.
and the person in charge of this location at this point in time is one of these shift leaders. It's not like an actual manager. It's like a shift leader
Correct.
who's probably like 18 and
Correct. What can you do?
is supervising all of their friends who's he or she or they were one of those peers maybe like a month ago, and now they're suddenly in charge for this 4 to 6 hour time period.
Yep.
And rapper Raymond comes in the door and is like, champagne for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then they're like, oh,
Okay.
like, I don't know if I have the authority to say, get out of
Right.
here. But also like, oh my God, it's Raymond. Like,
Right.
there's this
Right.
like, okay, there's
Yeah.
this whole thing.
Oh,
And
man.
again, like you mentioned, like they're young, they're 18, 19, maybe 20. So it's also like, we're not our most mature. Our brains are not fully formed at that point.
Right.
And also like, they're probably paid minimum wage, so they're also probably not sitting there
Right.
being like, "Oh no, I got to defend the delicious burgers."
No, they're used to like, it's a night shift. We sling a bunch of food and then we go home.
Right.
Like,
Right.
They're not, no.
Yeah.
Oh, goody.
And so, like,
there's
Maria's
this one
read-
review.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she's read so many reviews that no one really takes seriously, since we all know sometimes people just like to complain. So like,
Yes.
this is just part of her morning routine. She reads the review and she starts to kind of just process the info in real time. She's literally glazing it over. So she's like, okay. Her first thoughts are that she knows this location isn't disorganized. She's like, what? Like,
Yeah.
whatever. This is just someone complaining. The crew's used to constant influxes of people at all hours of the day and night. She was just there a couple weeks ago, and she knows it's not unsanitary. Like, they are clean, they are regimented, they do extra cleaning rotations because of the volume they constantly get. So she's like, she read the first sentence and she's like, this is just someone complaining, like, whatever. Because some people are like, if there's a napkin on the floor, they're like, oh my goodness.
Right.
So then when she gets to the they let anyone behind the counter part, she starts to like actively read it.
Wait a minute.
She's like, wait, why would they want anyone else behind the counter? Like, they know that's against policy, food safety protocols, all those things. And then she skips ahead to the I swear I saw Raymond part. And that's when she's like, wait, what is even happening here? So you're Maria. What do you do now?
Well, I think first things first, I get in touch with the general manager at that location. And I say like, hey, did you see this Yelp review? Do you know anything about this? Did anyone tell you anything today when you like came in for the day shift? Like, do you know anything about what happened? And I imagine that they have security cameras of some sort. So I would also want to like check the security camera footage and see what happened. But I would like do a little bit of investigation on my own before going straight to the employees who worked that night shift and being like, what were you guys doing? Because ideally, like, that's not my thing to do. That's the general manager's thing to do because it's their boss.
Yeah. Yeah. And Maria does exactly what you suggested. It's like,
Good job,
it's like
Maria.
you're helping her.
Good job, Maria.
So her first move is to contact the GM to see if he knows anything about this review. So we're going to call him Rodney.
All right,
So she goes, hey, Rodney, it's Maria. He goes, hey, Maria, what's up? They're kind of chummy, like, they're kind of friendly, like,
Yeah.
whatever. They call each other all the time. Like, so this was a thing, too. So it wasn't unusual for Maria to call Rodney because since Rodney runs, like, this very busy location, they've sort of, it's kind of like a thing. So poor Rodney, his day is, like, so normal until this moment. So she goes,
Your world is
know
about to be
anything?"
changed.
Yeah. She goes, do you know anything about this Yelp review from yesterday? And he goes, what Yelp review? She goes, the one where Raymond was apparently serving customers? Silence. And then, wait, Raymond
And Roddy's
the
like,
rapper?
what?
He's like, Raymond the rapper? She goes, yes, the one and only. And he goes, why would Raymond be serving customers? And she goes, I don't know, Rodney. That's why I'm calling to see if you had, if anything happened there the last few days. Like, can you check the security footage? So he goes, yep, give me some time to look through the footage and I'll call you back in a bit. So she goes, great, thanks. And so I asked if she would be able to review the footage from like not that location. And the answer was no, not at this time. So it's only like in the store that they'll be able to do it.
It's not
so
like
she
online.
Can't do anything.
Like, she'd have to like go sit in Rodney's office and watch him as he watched the security footage. Yeah.
Exactly. That's probably changed since then, but this was at least like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So Maria
vintage
continues
gossip.
to
This
go
is
about
great.
her day. So she continues to go about her day. She's like, you know what?
Yes.
I can't do anything until I see the security footage. Rodney's on it. I am empowering him to collect some information for me. So she answers some emails. She chats with some employees. She attends her weekly calls with HQ. Pretty normal day, all things considered. She doesn't mention the review to anybody else. So it's just her and Rodney. So after a few hours, Rodney calls her back and he goes, I found something.
Oh, no.
She's like, oh. So she's thinking that he means I found something in the security footage. And he goes, yeah, you might want to Google Raymond Delicious Burgers and Fries Obnoxious Neighborhood. And she's like, Google it? Like, oh God, like this is something that is Googleable now.
Oh no.
And he goes, it's probably the best
Guess
place to
it
start
happened.
before you come here. Yeah. He goes, it's probably the best place to start before you come here to view the security footage. So have you ever been in a position where a work situation went viral on the good old interwebs?
I don't think I have. I've had some really intense work situations, but they weren't nothing like this. No.
Me neither.
No. I have not.
Yeah, me neither. The most public situation
I've
I
had
had was
Nazis
when...
coming after me on Twitter because of policies that Discuss was making, but I wasn't like, no, HR is a fun job.
It wasn't as viral. Yeah.
Wasn't as viral
I remember,
as this.
I remember I had to break up an employee fight in the middle of like the floor when I worked at Lord & Taylor on Fifth Avenue during the Christmas season. Like they were fighting over something and that was probably the most traumatic, but like there was no cell phone footage. It was not, it wasn't anything
BuzzFeed
like that.
was not writing it up.
No one cared that much.
Yeah.
So Maria Googles it and she sees a video uploaded that shows Raymond and a bunch of other people behind the counter. She sees that the store is absolutely packed. And she sees Raymond at the cash register with a giant bottle of like brown alcohol talking to customers and taking orders, which I'm putting hand quotations around because he's basically just listening to people shouting at him and saying that people want cheeseburgers. He's like, cheeseburger, cheeseburger, cheeseburger. So the camera pans behind the counter and Maria sees basically the whole night shift staff smiling and hanging out while all this is happening. So like the footage is taken from behind the counter. She sees all her employees and they're all like, yeah. So like it's all evident right there.
What else are you going to do when you're like a minimum wage fast food worker? You're not empowered to stop the situation. I mean, you could like call the cops, I guess, but are you going to do that?
Yeah. I don't think they ever felt like they were in danger. Like it didn't seem like it was like a dangerous situation.
Right.
It was just like
it's an awesome situation where there's like a literal star having a party in your store.
Exactly.
Like, if I'm an overnight fast food worker, I'm like, oh, this is weird. Like party, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, here's the thing though, is like, she's telling me this story and we'll get to like more about her reaction towards the end. Because I was like, I wanted to spend so much time just hearing what actually went through her mind outside of the literal thing that happened. And this is one of those things where if I were in their position, I would have been doing the same exact thing. I'd be like, I'm not going to try to save my burger flipping job. I can go get another one across the street. This is the coolest thing that's ever going to happen to me. And like, I'm just going to enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
So at one point in the video,
afterwards.
yeah. At one point in the video, the camera person says, we just came in through the back. Like you just hear it like come in the audio and disappear. So Delicious shares an alley with the concert venue that's next door. So the alley is like where the dumpster access is. And it's where the artists tend to come and go so they can sneak into cars without dealing with fans and crowds. So Delicious's door.
Restaurants.
Exactly. And the door is usually locked from the inside. So someone would have either had to let them in or they would have had to break in. So either employees are opening the back door to let strangers in or like they got broken into, but not a break and enter in a criminal way, I guess. Just like a, hey, we're here. We're not.
Can I tell you
we're
what
just
I
here.
hope happened? I really hope an employee like opened the door to like go out and have their smoke break or whatever, and they went out there and what's his name? Raymond. Raymond is like out there post concert, and it's like, oh, do I smell French fries? And they're like, yeah, this is a delicious burger right here. I was like, oh, can I come in and get a burger? And the employee's like, obviously, come on in. And then it's like escalates from there, hijinks style. Yeah, that's what I hope happened.
Not necessarily. Not exactly.
Okay.
So she watches this video and like basically she's like, I gotta go. So she's on her way to this other location, and it's not far from where she is, but it still takes her forever to get there because of this mysterious city that's like very busy that I'm sure no one can really guess what we're talking about.
Nope, certainly not.
So what should she do when she gets there?
When she gets there, I think she needs to go into the GM's office and sit down with him and have a really big laugh because this is ridiculous, and she needs someone to blow off some steam with before she like enters productivity HR mode. Yeah. And there's literally no one else better suited than this GM who also has just discovered this nonsense.
Yes.
Like, and is in a similar position of like, well, we're gonna have to do something about this, but what?
Yeah.
But first, like, they need to form an alliance and recognize how ridiculous this whole scenario is and come up with a plan together.
Yeah. So that's the move. So she's getting her ducks in a row. She and Rodney are confirming who worked last night. They're like huddling in the office, getting their facts and just being like, what do we even do? Or they're like, this is insane. She verifies that Raymond was playing at the venue next door last night and only last night. So she's verifying her timeline. Rodney's checking to see if anything is damaged or missing. Spoiler alert, the back door was broken where they busted in.
They're like,
and like
we
he
smell
didn't notice
burgers
it.
and fries.
Yeah, and like he didn't notice it because it was like the latch was broken or something. So like unless you went to check, you wouldn't know. She's looking at who's scheduled for the night shift tonight. Miraculously, it's most of the same people who were there last night. So like they're on their way in.
Great.
So a little bit about policy, because like policy is what grounds so many of these types of things where you kind of, it guides you usually to kind of know what to do, so that if you're just a human person who's like, this is actually kind of funny, it helps you figure out your professional position of what you were supposed to do about it from the place of responsibility.
Right.
So Delicious has a 0 tolerance policy when it comes to drinking or smoking on the job. So not only is it dangerous since employees are around a hot grill their whole shift, which, you know, hard alcohol and smoke is like not great. There's a ton of health codes they have to uphold.
But
there's also,
were the employees the ones that were smoking or drinking, or was it just the rapper and his friends who were smoking or drinking?
Unclear, but it is unclear, but permitting it behind the counter is still part of the no tolerance policy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
They should have.
It's in like the employee area because, like you can't even bring you can even bring stuff to work to leave in your locker for when you're done with your shift, kind of thing. Like no alcohol at all.
I see.
So, excuse me. There's also a pretty strict policy around letting non-employees behind the counter outside of an emergency situation, because again, it's food handling. Like there's a lot of rules about like what can cross where. So basically all the evidence that Maria and Rodney have supports basically immediate termination of everyone who was working last night, which leaves 2 problems. One,
nobody to work tonight.
Almost half the location staff is about to be termed, including the recently promoted shift lead. Like this person was recently promoted. And then 2,
well, Rebecca, this person might not have been ready for the promotion.
Possibly not. What a lesson to be learned. Maybe he's one of those people on LinkedIn now who's writing about like lessons learned early in my career.
Yeah, right. Like,
and now he's
what
like,
I learned from partying with a rapper. Sign up for my workshop. Yeah.
And the other issue is that, as you mentioned, they have to round out staffing of the night shift. So like now they're like, this is great.
Yeah.
So, because the other part of this too is like the public part. So like their faces are on this video. This video is viral. It's like picked up from like all these news outlets. So they're expecting that they're going to have like people coming in tonight. They've kind of started to stream in during the day. And so they're looking for these employees because they're like famous. So they have to like just basically remove them. So Maria and Rodney get 2 people from the day shift to agree to work overtime through the busiest part of the night shift. Rodney's staying and Maria is staying because they are true team players and they're going to get the job done. So
I mean,
when the people
Rodney,
who were there,
I can kind of understand. He's the GM of the store, but like Maria from corporate HR, like why does she need to be there overnight?
she's staying through solidarity for Rodney, just to kind of be like, we're
Is she
here,
like
we have to deal
trained
with this
on the
together.
fryer and the register, and like does she know how to do that job, or is she
She's
just
more
gonna, like,
supervisory.
hang out? Yeah, she's just gonna like hang out.
Yeah, she's more like supervisory. So like she's trained in customer service stuff. So if there's an issue at the register, which they don't know if there's going to be customers coming in,
When people come in looking
for
when people come in, they're
for
like,
Raymond.
"Where's the party?" Yeah,
Right. So she's like, I'm just going to stay just to give Rodney some backup so he's not alone in managing this whole thing. Also, they're going to be exhausted because this is a double, you know?
all right.
So
fair.
when the people who were there last night come in for their shift, Maria pulls them into the back office one at a time. So there's like 4 of them out of the 6 are basically scheduled to work today. She's not expecting these terminations to be tough since they're pretty straightforward. And when the first person goes, oh yeah, I definitely thought I'd get fired, I just didn't know when, it really makes the whole thing a lot easier. So the conversations go pretty similarly. And when she wraps up with the last person on site, she calls the remaining people, the last 2, to have the conversations with them over the phone instead of being like, come on in, you know, do the whole charade. But so just the fact that they were all like, oh yeah, I knew that I would get fired. She was just like, yeah, well, you are, but okay. And then that was like the end of the conversation. So we're almost at the end. I will have some updates for you, but we're almost at the end. How do you feel and whose side are you on, if any?
I mean, I feel uncomfortable with the whole situation. Like, if there hadn't been company policy against it, I probably would not have fired those people. I would have been like, guys, you know this was bad, right? Like this, you can't do this. But you probably were never trained on what to do in a situation like this. So let's train you on that. Like, if this type of thing happens again, here's what you should do. Like, 'cause I would like to give them benefit of the doubt here, and I would prefer to think that they like just had no idea what they should do in this kind of a situation, and that's understandable. People are human. But given that there's corporate policy against it, I don't think there's a choice, right? Like, my hands are tied.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel bad about it. I'm on the side of the overnight employees who got thrown into a post-show party. Got thrown into an after party they weren't expecting, and then lost their jobs because they didn't know how to handle an impromptu celebrity after party, which is fair and not their fault.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Not
I think
that,
it's like
not that
they're
Maria did
heroes.
anything wrong. Like, I think Maria did what she needed to do. But like, I'm on the side of these laborers who all of a sudden were throwing an after party for a famous rapper, and were on their own in the middle of the night. I'm on their side.
I mean, Maria is even on their side. Like, she was telling me about this. She was like, she was like, look, she's like, if you want, she's like, my heart was like, this is the funniest thing that's ever happened. But what really kind of tanked it, so what made it really like you have to enforce the policy as is the fact that it went viral. So there was so much attention on it. And so she and she and Rodney couldn't have even like tried to sweep it under the rug, not sweep it under the rug, but like strategize about it, turning into a training opportunity, kind of whatever. The fact that it went viral is she was like, immediately corporate's calling her. They're like, you have to deal with this. But so she's kind of like very much on their side too. She's like, I still keep in touch with some of them, you know, like this is years ago. She's like, and you know, they've gone on to have like great and fine careers and like everything's fine. She's like, but she's like, this was just so funny. And
That's
something
so
that
funny.
I didn't mention is that Maria is actually a huge fan of Raymond's. Like,
Oh my God.
she's listened to all his music, and she was almost at the show last night, or at that show, but she ended up not being able to go. Like, it was like so
God.
close
so
to
she's
going.
like, I am so sad that I missed the after party at my restaurant.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so it takes everything in her to not ask these people, like, what was he like? Do you know, how did he get in here? Was he cool? Like, what, you know, was it fun? Like, it's taking everything in her to not just fangirl while this is happening.
She's like, I also would have gotten fired because I also would not have stopped this party.
Yes. Basically, if she was at the concert and, like, walked in and that was happening, she would have been like, Captain of the Titanic, like, we're all going down with this ship. Let's go.
Yeah. I love that.
And so once she finishes the employee situation, she actually, I love this about her, she reaches out to the concert venue to let them know that one of their artists broke Delicious's door down. She's like, excuse me. One of your artists broke the door down. It's viral now. So, like, obviously you can tell that it's true. And in a hilarious minute, they actually agree to replace it, which I thought was really funny.
Great. I mean, probably
like, I
it
thought
should
it was really
have been
funny.
Raymond's team that needed to replace it, but like that's fine.
Yeah,
Someone
I don't know where the
replaced it
money
that
actually
wasn't
ended up
Maria.
coming from, but like
Right.
the venue was
They had
basically
it
just like, yeah,
replaced.
we'll deal with it. They replaced it.
Great. Good job, venue.
And so, yeah. And so when it's all said and done, Maria and Raymond hold a hiring event to fill all these newly opened positions. And because the location's getting so much attention, they have no issues filling those roles quickly.
Of course.
So
people are like,
everything turns
I'm
out
going to take
fine.
this job. I hope this happens to me while I work here. It'll be worth getting fired.
What a way to get fired. Like, out
Yeah,
of all the ways
honestly.
to have it happen, like, I would 100% choose that every time. And, like, when it's all said and done, no one was harmed and the damage was
Right.
minimal, but the story lives on. Like, to this day,
Forever.
that video is still up and it's easy to find. And
my
Maria
gosh.
always has, like, a fun little anecdote and fun fact for her career, which was actually, like, when she
Yeah.
told me this. Like, we were talking about something completely different, and she's like, wait, I heard you have this podcast. She's like, I have a story for you. And I was like, give it to me.
Yes, we love the stories.
Yep.
I feel like
that's it for our
at
story
the end
today.
of our, I feel like at the end of our first season, we're going to need to do like a quick, like one-line recap of the topics of each of these because they've been so different. These stories, they've all been like wonderfully entertaining and very much like in hindsight, we can all laugh about this situation kind of stuff. But they've been so different, and I, for listeners who are tuning in for the first time, I encourage you to take a listen to previous episodes because the vibes between the hosts are the same, but the stories are very different. And I'm curious if we have listeners who are not in HR, have you been learning something about the myriad things that HR folks deal with on a day-to-day basis? The job is more than you thought it was, isn't it?
Oh my God. My best friend listens to this. She's one of our active listeners. Hi, Katie. And every
Katie.
time she listens to one of the episodes, like she texts me, she's just like, your job is crazy. she's like, I never would have thought that like this kind of stuff happens on the regs. I'm like, regs enough that we have enough content to keep a podcast going with it.
Right.
It is a weird job. It's kind of
It
what
is
makes
a
it kind of
weird
fun, though,
job.
is like that it's just so weird. And sometimes
Yeah.
it's weird in a fun way. Like this is weird in a fun way. I think it's what we
It's
needed
not
in the
always
series.
it's not always weird in a trauma way. Sometimes it's weird
Right.
in a fun way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you for this gift. I am
yes.
now, of course, going to use my librarian skills to find this story in the real
Oh, I'll
internet.
send you the
'cause
link.
I want to find it so badly.
I'll send you the link.
Oh.
I watched the video as I was writing this, like to make sure that I got like a lot of the details right.
Oh my God. I am so stoked about this.
Yeah.
This is our first story that's like anonymous, but
not.
It went viral.
Yeah. I know. So I was like, I was trying to balance, like, how do I do this? But,
Yes.
it's like, I don't know, but here we are.
Here we are. I am so excited. What a
Yeah.
treat.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I think my favorite part of this story is like, other than the, obvious, is that it really shows the importance of having a Rodney, like a really good leader on site who can team up and partner with
Yes.
HR when they're like when needed, but otherwise
Yes.
can basically be trusted to handle most employee situations on his own.
Right.
Like the teamwork between these two to see if there was a
kids.
problem, to solve it. Beautiful work between Rodney and
Absolutely.
Maria here.
It's very funny timing because I am right now writing an issue for my newsletter. Shameless plug. I care too much. Substack.com. I'm writing an issue of my newsletter about middle management and like why it's so important for middle managers to get the support they need. And so often people get promoted into that role, like we saw with these shift leaders, right? Someone gets promoted into the role that they're not ready for, that they're not trained for, maybe they don't even want it. And it's like, if you put someone into a role because they're like the best at the job they're doing, and so you move them into management, it's like management is a very different job than the individualized skill job, right? It's like when an engineer is like the best at coding, and so you make them the engineering manager. Now they're not coding, now they're managing engineers. Like that might not be a skill match. I almost said that might not be a skill cycle. That's the name of your company. But it's so important when you're thinking about who is in these managerial roles, like to find people like Rodney, who clearly are like thoughtful and have a good head on their shoulders and can analyze a situation and make a quick decision. I don't know, maybe Rodney's like really excellent at working the counter or making burgers. Like he might be excellent at those things, but he doesn't have to be, right?
Right. Yeah.
And
he's good at the other
someone
stuff.
is the best customer service at the register doesn't mean they're going to be the best at managing a rowdy team of overnight workers who had a party.
Yeah. You never know. And we see this all the time with our customers too. And even like as we're talking to pretty much anybody, there's just this huge call for development of middle management. And I mean, it's like systemic, like middle managers want more support. They want to learn. And when you look at it as so many organizations got rid of their manager development programs or their training programs, really when like the Great Recession started, so 2008. So we have a whole generation of leaders who've kind of had just to sort of like figure it out as they go. Maybe they're lucky to have a mentor, maybe they're lucky to have a coach, but even then it's still very like all over the place. And there's been sort of this renaissance of management development in the last 2 years, especially. And it's like really upticking now because it's like it's not a personality trait. It is a skill. Management is a skill. Yeah. And the more that we're seeing like what bad management does, we're realizing how much we have to intentionally build good management. And that's like, and like the result is like you have a Rodney, like someone who's capable, doesn't, and has their people's back, but also knows like, can handle pretty much
and has a clearly enough defined job that they're not also still doing all of the individual contributor tasks. So like imagine if Rodney had also been working on the front lines that day and had also been like working the overnight shift, like he would not have been able to adequately perform his duties as general manager, right? And it's the same as like when you promote someone into management, but you don't take away any of their other job. Now you're asking them to do 2 jobs. It's like, well, but we pay them 10% more. It's like, that's not the same as not making them do 2 jobs.
Yeah. And then sometimes it like shifts their priorities from managing their team to doing their individual contributor work. And that one's always going to be the priority because that's also more in their safe zone. It's more what they're used to. They're not learning how to do the people management part, so they're going to avoid it.
And
so
they know what success and failure looks like in their individual contributor work. They know like what missing a deadline looks like, but they don't maybe know what good or bad management looks like. So they're, because their manager is in a similar position, like it's a vicious cycle. And like the answer is suck it up and let your managers just be managers. Yeah. And train you don't need as many managers if you have fewer managers, but their only responsibility is people management. Yes. You don't need as many managers because it's like your managers are overwhelmed and drowning and not able to manage their people. It's like, well, what else is on their day-to-day priority list besides managing people? So I could clearly talk about this forever. Good job, Rodney. I'm proud of you.
I actually had one question that kind of like segues into what you were saying. So do you have any advice for our listeners based on this story or from this story or just in general, especially as workplaces are becoming more public thanks to social media? So like more workplace things are becoming viral now. Like people are recording their performance conversations and posting them on LinkedIn or whatever, or TikTok or whatever. So any advice? Yeah.
I'd say, and obviously this took place in a different time where people were not as online, but act at work as if everything you say, do, write could get leaked publicly. Like, don't put anything in the company Slack that you don't want screenshotted. Don't send someone an email that you don't want copied and forwarded to a news outlet. Like, use that as your frame of reference. Rather, like, there are going to be rules and things like the zero tolerance policy and things like that exist. But for you as an individual employee to protect yourself, to protect your team, like, just be careful what you say and do at work, because you don't know. I mean, especially in this like weird ass world that we're going into now, like, you don't know what's being recorded and when and where. And like, I don't know. I don't want to be like too tinfoil hat conspiracy theory, but like, I don't know. There was news today about the government DEI target lists of like people who work in DEI having their names and personal information put on this list of like programs to target for defunding. And like, there's just like a lot of crazy stuff going on right now. And even when there wasn't all this craziness going on, you just like, I don't want to say don't let your guard down at work, because that's like unsettling, but you know, work is your workplace, and try to assume that everything you say and do is going to be seen by someone.
Yeah. And if you do let your guard down at work, like, think about what that letting your guard down at work is, though. Like, you know, it's like if letting your guard down at work leads you to say offensive things, maybe think about that.
Maybe
think about
question
that.
Yourself.
Yeah. And like, you know, there's no harm in just, you know, like you said, sort of treating every professional communication as if it can be read aloud somewhere, somehow, as if you're always being recorded.
I mean, you would think in this era, after the layoff season of 2023 and 2024, like, I would hope that people know that now that like any internal communication you send can be leaked. And will be if it's questionable. So like, I remember we did this at Oyster when we were doing our layoffs. We were like, we have to write our layoff communications to the staff as if we expect that someone is going to copy paste it and share it on LinkedIn. And in fact, we did that proactively. We were like, we're going to share this internal communication publicly because we're disappointed that we have to do this, but we're not ashamed of the way we're doing it. And we want to be really clear and transparent with our community as well as with our employees on why we're doing this and how we're doing this. And I think that's the attitude that companies have to take these days, and employees have to take these days. Like,
I'd agree.
Private Slack channels can still be accessed by admins.
And it's also like there's not much difference anymore between internal communications and external communications. Because like you said, like in HR, we write communications all the time. We have communication strategy. We have the whole thing. It's like pretty much our whole job, or it's a lot of our job, because it's everything about like just cascading information, getting everybody on the same page. And now it really is like internal is external. The same way you think of like any employee can possibly be a customer one day, or you know, like we're all connected in the great circle of life.
That's right. That's right.
And that's all for this episode of HR Confessions. If you want to submit your own confession, there's a link in the show notes. And we'd love to hear any thoughts or input from our listeners. So please follow us on social media or email us at hrconfessions@skillcycle.com. If you just want to chat, I get so many DMs in my LinkedIn. If I see you in real life, I'll probably ask you if you have a story you want me to share or write down or save. So like truly, genuinely, like I love hearing them. So please keep them coming so that I can keep telling them. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.